invasive species now cost the world $423 billion a year, more than twice the net worth of the richest person alive. But this is affecting your food, your safety, and entire economies. In Australia, rabbits cause over $200 million in annual damage. In the US, super pigs have even triggered an F-16 crash. Covered by National Geographic and the BBC, these cases show how nations are rethinking urban planning, agriculture, and wildlife control. So the question is, can innovation and strategy outpace nature's most unexpected challengers? Stick around, because what comes next might completely change the way you understand the world around you. Australia has faced one of the fastest and most destructive mammal invasions in history, the European rabbit. Though first introduced with the first fleet in 1788, the real crisis began in 1859 when Thomas Austin released just 24 wild rabbits on his property in Victoria. Within a little over 160 years, their population surged to more than 600 million. These rabbits continue to cause an estimated $200 million in agricultural damage each year, devouring vegetation, worsening desertification, and pushing native species toward starvation. With no large native predators, wild dogs being the largest, controlling the population has proven difficult. Early efforts included traps, poison, bulldozers, and explosives, yet none were enough. In 1901, Australia built a rabbit-proof fence over 1,100 miles long. By the time it was completed, rabbits had already crossed. The fence was extended to over 1,800 miles, but it still failed to stop them. Introducing foxes didn't help either. They preferred easier prey like kangaroos. Later, the release of the myxomatosis virus reduced rabbit numbers to 100 million. But resistance soon developed, and the population eventually stabilized at under 300 million. Australia's rabbit crisis remains a major case study in invasive species management, showing how quickly things spiral without early intervention in natural predators. But Australia isn't the only place grappling with invasive troublemakers. What happens when an animal becomes a tourist attraction and a public menace at the same time? Lopburi, a city in central Thailand, has struggled with a growing invasion, not by humans but by long-tailed macaques. Known as Monkey City, Lopburi has long embraced its monkey population as a cultural symbol and tourist draw. But with their numbers now estimated at over 3,500, the charm has turned into chaos. These monkeys roam freely, climbing roofs, blocking roads, and invading shops. They damage property, harass tourists, and create a daily public nuisance. Some businesses have shut down and property values have dropped, with one building falling from nearly $2.8 million to around $2 million. Buyers are scarce. Lopburi's famous monkey festival continues to attract visitors, but interactions have become dangerous. In March 2024, a woman was injured when a monkey dragged her across the street in a struggle for food. In another incident, a macaque knocked a man off his motorbike. To address the crisis, Thai wildlife officials have sterilized around 1,600 monkeys in mass drives. Plans are also underway to capture and relocate about 2,500 macaques to large enclosures outside city limits. Public education campaigns have been launched to reduce feeding and encourage safer behavior around the monkeys. So far, these efforts have led to fewer monkey-related incidents, easing tensions for residents and shop owners. However, animal rights groups have raised concerns about the welfare of the relocated macaques and the conditions of their enclosures. The debate highlights the challenge of managing urban wildlife while protecting both human safety and animal welfare. If you think monkeys running wild is chaotic, wait until you see how an uninvited guest from North America has taken over European cities with trash raids and beer-fueled antics. Raccoons, native to North America, have become an invasive species in Germany. The first release occurred in 1934, when two breeding pairs were introduced near Lake Ettersee. In 1945, 25 raccoons escaped from a fur farm in Brandenburg. Since then, their population has surged to over 2 million. These highly adaptable animals thrive in both forests and cities. In Kassel, now dubbed the raccoon capital of Europe, they frequently invade homes, raid garbage bins, and cause property damage. Their omnivorous diet includes birds, amphibians, crops, and household waste, raising concerns about biodiversity loss, though some studies suggest the limited impact on endangered species. Germany primarily uses regulated hunting to manage the population. In Hesse, hunters are allowed to cull raccoons, and extensions to the hunting season have been discussed. However, their high reproduction rate, with up to 5 young per litter, makes control difficult. Authorities also promote prevention, securing trash, sealing buildings, and discouraging feeding. Some have turned to culinary solutions, processing raccoon meat into sausages, though it remains a niche market. Raccoons have even been seen drinking beer from discarded bottles, further illustrating their opportunistic behavior. Their invasive status has sparked debate between conservationists pushing for strict control and animal advocates demanding humane strategies. Raccoons may be clever, but another species is rewriting the playbook on destruction. What do you get when intelligence, strength, and speed combine in one animal? Stay tuned. In the United States, super pigs, hybrids of wild boars and domestic pigs, have become a fast-growing invasive threat. Now present in 39 states, their population has exploded to between 8 and 9 million. The invasion traces back to the late 1400s, when 8 domestic pigs were brought to the Caribbean by Christopher Columbus. Today, Canada is also affected, with super pigs spreading across over 1 million square kilometers. Texas has the highest concentration, with around 2 million pigs. Nationally, these animals cause more than $2.5 billion in damage each year. Weighing up to 1,100 pounds, they are strong, fast, and intelligent, capable of evading traps baited with fermented corn and sugar. Their destruction spans cities and countryside alike. In 2006, a pig triggered the crash of an F-16 fighter jet in Florida, costing $16 million. In 2013, a Texas cemetery was dug up and damaged. Super pigs don't just feed, they trample and destroy whatever lies in their path. They're also hard to stop. Aerial hunts can cost up to $3,000 for just 2 hours. Even after being shot, some can travel over 60 miles. They survive extreme winters, enduring temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius. Attempts to manage them include hunting incentives and even wild pig dishes on restaurant menus in Austin. But the meat is tough, unappealing, and carries over 30 pathogens and 37 parasites. Despite millions spent, the super pig invasion remains unresolved. While pigs plow through fields in the U.S., a quieter but deadlier predator stalks nearly all of Australia, one with a staggering body count in the billions. But before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel, and if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? Australia has struggled fiercely with feral cats, one of the biggest threats to its native wildlife. Each year, these predators kill over 3 billion animals. Domestic cats add another 230 million. So far, at least 34 native mammals have gone disappear, and more than 200 species remain at risk, including the greater bilby, numbat, and Gilbert's paturu. Feral cats now cover nearly all of Australia. Their numbers shift from 1.4 million during dry periods to as high as 5.6 million after rains. In response, the government launched a $60 million plan in late 2024, using drones with thermal cameras, artificial intelligence, and DNA tracking to find and remove them. Local councils have introduced containment rules and offer rebates for enclosed cat spaces, known as catios. Some cities now require domestic cats to stay on their owners' properties at all times. Hunters have been incentivized. One earned over $400 for catching the largest cat. Another received more than $200 for removing 65. The government also uses snipers, fences, and felixer machines that spray toxins using sensors. Over 200 of these units are now in use. Proposals for cat limits and cat-free suburbs have sparked debate, while animal rights groups push for humane alternatives like trap-neuter-return, which remains mostly illegal. Volunteers continue rehoming and desexing efforts, making Australia a global case study in invasive species control. But what happens when the invader is a silent, stealthy apex predator? Florida's problem slithers in the shadows, and it's bigger than you think. Florida faces a severe ecological threat from Burmese pythons, which were introduced through the exotic pet trade in the late 20th century. Many were released by owners unprepared for snakes that often grow over 12 feet long. The problem worsened in 1992 when Hurricane Andrew destroyed a breeding facility, releasing more pythons into the wild. Now estimated at over 300,000, these snakes thrive in the Everglades' warm, prey-rich environment. As apex predators, they consume birds, mammals, and even alligators. In some areas, native mammal populations, like raccoons and bobcats, have declined by over 90%. Each female can lay up to 87 eggs per clutch, and their camouflage makes them hard to detect. The U.S. Department of the Interior banned their import and interstate transport in 2012, and Florida classifies them as a prohibited species. Efforts to control the population include the annual Florida Python Challenge. In 2022, 231 snakes were removed. One hunter earned $10,000 for capturing 28 pythons. Another won $1,500 for the longest catch at nearly 12 feet. Some snakes have reached over 17 feet and carried more than 100 eggs. Scientists now implant radio trackers in male pythons to locate breeding sites. These methods help, but the species' stealth and rapid reproduction make them difficult to control, even in urban areas. If you found a 17-foot python in your backyard, would you try to run, call for help, or try to catch it for the $10,000 reward? Let us know in the comments below. India faces growing conflict with rhesus macaques, especially in urban areas like New Delhi. These monkeys, driven from forests by deforestation and rapid urban development, have become common in cities, where they steal food, damage property, and sometimes injure people. Feeding monkeys, often rooted in religious practices, has worsened the issue by encouraging their presence. In Lal village, Maharashtra, more than 250 dogs were killed by a group of monkeys in what appeared to be revenge after a baby monkey was bitten. The monkeys grabbed the dogs and threw them from the rooftops. Despite intervention, forestry officials failed to capture any. Incidents continue to alarm the public. In July 2021, tourists fled when two large monkey groups clashed violently. In other regions, monkeys have harassed cats and small children. Even baboons have appeared and are now listed as animals requiring restriction. Authorities have tried relocating monkeys to forests or sanctuaries, but many return or cause problems elsewhere. Public education campaigns aim to stop feeding and secure food waste, though changing behavior remains difficult. To deter monkeys, some cities use trained langurs or handlers who mimic langur calls, with mixed results. India's challenge lies in balancing wildlife control with deep-rooted cultural values and urban safety. From primates to pythons, the problems are visible, but what if the invader is tiny, silent, and hidden underwater? Brazil is racing against time to stop it. In Brazil, the golden mussel, native to Southeast Asia, has become a serious ecological and economic threat. First detected in the late 1990s, it was likely introduced through ballast water from ships. By 1998, it had spread to the Parana and Jacuí rivers, later reaching major waterways like the Pantanal and South Francisco River Basin. Its rapid expansion is fueled by high reproduction and the ability to cling to boats and equipment, making human activity a key driver of its spread. These mussels form dense colonies, outcompeting native species and reducing biodiversity. In hydroelectric facilities, they clog pipes and encrust equipment, reducing efficiency and increasing maintenance costs. To counter this, Brazil has adopted advanced technologies. Artificial intelligence programs using neural networks now help detect and count mussel populations accurately and efficiently. Biologist Marcela Juliano da Silva is leading genetic control efforts. By sequencing the mussel's genome, her team is developing gene silencing strategies that could reduce populations without harming native species. Despite these innovations, the golden mussel continues to spread. However, combining AI, genetics, and targeted management offers Brazil a promising path to control one of its most persistent invasive species. Germany has experienced a sharp rise in red fox populations, particularly in cities like Berlin. Once limited to rural areas, foxes began colonizing urban environments in the 1950s. By the 1990s, they had spread across the city, drawn by easy access to food like waste and small animals. Today, red fox numbers in Germany have quadrupled over the past 15 years, reaching over 600,000. Farmers are especially affected, as foxes frequently target chickens and have even raided zoos. More than 500,000 are culled each year to manage their numbers. Red foxes are the most widespread carnivores in the Northern Hemisphere. Highly adaptable, they thrive in both wild and human-dominated landscapes, using keen hearing, smell, and a precise pounce to hunt. Studies show that urban foxes behave differently from rural ones. In Berlin, radio collar tracking revealed they prefer moving along roads and railways and tend to avoid city borders. Genetic analyses have also confirmed two distinct fox populations, urban and rural, separated more by human development than natural features. Concerns about disease transmission remain, though comprehensive data are limited. In response, authorities have shifted toward non-lethal strategies like public awareness campaigns and securing food sources, while continuing research to support informed wildlife management. But not all invasions involve destruction alone. In Italy, a turf war between two squirrel species has triggered lawsuits, protests, and international conservation efforts. Italy has been facing a growing ecological challenge, the spread of eastern gray squirrels, which pose a serious threat to the native Eurasian red squirrel and forest ecosystems. First introduced near the city of Turin in 1948, and later in Genoa and Umbria, these gray squirrels quickly gained ground due to their adaptability and dominance over food resources. Unlike the native red squirrel, gray squirrels are more aggressive foragers. They outcompete red squirrels for nuts and seeds and strip bark from trees, causing long-term forest damage. As a result, red squirrel populations have declined sharply in several regions. In response, Italy launched early control programs that involve trapping and euthanizing gray squirrels. However, these measures triggered legal battles and public outcry from animal rights groups, ultimately leading to a halt in operations. The turning point came in 2012, when the government banned the trade and ownership of gray squirrels. Since then, Italy has worked with the European Union through life-funded conservation projects. These initiatives combine public education, scientific research, and targeted regional strategies to manage the invasion. While some control methods remain controversial, they have helped shift the focus toward humane, science-based solutions. Among the more innovative strategies now being explored is fertility control, a non-lethal method aimed at limiting population growth. Although the gray squirrel continues to expand in some areas, Italy's evolving approach reflects a broader commitment to balancing ecological protection with public values. Through collaboration, public engagement, and EU-backed conservation policy. Italy's case stands out as a complex but forward-thinking model for invasive species management in Europe. If gray squirrels were wiping out your country's native wildlife, would you support fertility control or push for a total ban, no matter the backlash? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. In Japan, the red-eared slider, a turtle native to the southeastern United States, has become one of the country's most invasive species. Popularized through the pet trade since the 1950s, many were released into the wild after growing too large, eventually spreading to nearly every prefecture. By the early 2000s, surveys showed red-eared sliders made up more than 60% of freshwater turtles in Japan. These turtles outcompete native species for food and basking areas, disrupt aquatic vegetation, and may spread disease. In response, the Japanese government recommended a ban on further importation and breeding of red-eared sliders in 2022. While current owners may keep their pets, new sales are restricted. Localized efforts, such as those at Teradek Pond, combined habitat restoration with mass removal, showing clear success in reducing populations. Public awareness campaigns now discourage turtle releases and promote responsible pet care. Yet management remains complex due to the species' cultural presence in parks and schools. What surprised scientists was the turtles' adaptability. In Japan, they often grow larger than in their native range and show female-skewed sex ratios, trends not seen in U.S. populations. By combining legal controls, ecological action, and cultural sensitivity, Japan has created a distinctive model for managing invasive species that is drawing global attention. You've seen the animals. Now meet the plant that cracks concrete, sinks property values, and spreads like wildfire. The UK's botanical battle is far from over. In the United Kingdom, Japanese knotweed has become one of the most problematic invasive species, threatening both infrastructure and native ecosystems. Originally introduced in the mid-19th century by German botanist Philipp Franz von Siebold for ornamental purposes, the plant quickly escaped gardens and took over landscapes across the country. Its aggressive spread is driven by its underground rhizomes. Even a tiny root fragment can regenerate into a full plant, making Japanese knotweed extremely difficult to eliminate. It spreads rapidly through waterways, soil movement, and even on machinery. The impact is widespread. In urban areas, its powerful root system can crack roads, damage building foundations, and weaken flood defenses. In natural habitats, it forms dense stands that crowd out native plants, drastically reducing biodiversity. The financial cost of managing this invader is staggering. The United Kingdom spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year on control and repair efforts. Controlling Japanese knotweed often begins with physical removal. However, this method is labor-intensive and requires strict disposal procedures, as any leftover roots can lead to new outbreaks. Chemical control, usually involving glyphosate-based herbicides, is also common, but full eradication typically demands several applications over multiple growing seasons. To slow its spread, the UK government enforces strict regulations. Landowners are legally responsible for managing knotweed on their property. Letting it spread to a neighbor's land can result in legal action and may reduce property values, making it a concern for real estate buyers and sellers alike. Adding to the urgency, climate change is accelerating knotweed growth and pushing it to emerge earlier each season. Homeowners are urged to stay alert, as unchecked infestations can lead to serious structural damage and soaring removal costs. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I hope you'll love this content. Comment below about the next topic you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.